Welcome to a Koga Arbok deck highlight for Pokemon Pocket. This deck list is the closest thing I've played to a tempo deck in Pocket so far, which is to say this deck list is both incredibly aggressive, starting to get points on the opponent's Pokemon as quickly as possible, while also being disruptive to their game plan. Arbok in particular is a phenomenal controlling card in Pocket. Its counter not only hits very hard at 60 points for 2 energy, but locking your opponent out of retreating means that you are often able to snag prize points that you normally wouldn't be able to get. Sabrina is especially potent with Arbok because your opponent will get their big attacker up, you'll switch it out, and then you'll lock in whatever came out of their back line, meaning they have nowhere left to run. Koga, the deck's namesake, is also incredibly potent with Weezing in this deck when it comes to buying time. Weezing has such a heavy health pool that can often take an attack or two, and then you Koga it safely back to your hand, which is not a big deal because it only takes 1 energy to attack, and you get to reset all the damage it's taken thus far. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed the games that I have for your day. I think they do a phenomenal job of showcasing Weezing and Arbok and everything that Koga brings to the table. If you enjoy what you see, snap that like button for the rest of the day. Have fun. It seems like really basic programming logic to go, if Pokemon dead, don't do status applications. How do you think really obvious mistakes like this make it into the game? I think really obvious things like that making it into the game is very clear to literally anyone who's ever done an ounce of software development in a big company with lots of hands on deck. I think there's 800,000 different things they're keeping track of and trying to implement to actually get the game to release. And implementing that, which is what we would refer to as a quality life improvement in the industry, is super low priority compared to making everything actually work that the game needs to function at a basic level. So yes, there's a number of really small quality of life improvements they could make in the game, such as that specific one. But also, like, acting like it's a big deal or things like that never happen is completely ignorant and nonsensical. They happen all the time and are very reasonable. They are a very low priority to have change, and they're a very low priority for a reason. For people who aren't familiar with my background, by the way, I talk a lot about my card gaming background because it's directly applicable to what we're doing here, obviously. But, I spent time doing process automation for a Fortune 50 company for a little while after grad school. I've got a GitHub page from a decade ago that's got a bunch of code in it. I spent time contributing to a number of open source projects during undergrad, grad school, and a little bit after my my bandwidth to contribute to things like that disappeared when my family grew and I had children. Just too many time sinks. But I am loosely fairly familiar, definitely more familiar than most of Twitch chat with how those processes work. This Mewtwo is cornered and this game's probably over. Get the trash can. Arbok is so powerful, making sure they can't get out. I think we potion to make sure this isn't going to die. To a Gardevoir attack or something else. It could also be reasonable to burn the X speed and let Weezing finish this just so Arbok doesn't take another hit, but that probably doesn't matter since we're picking up 2 match points on this EX to start. When I did software stuff, anything I developed of my own volition was written in Python, but I also maintained a number of projects that I inherited that were written in C. Then we get to flex the power of Sabrina with Arbok here. The opponent got to switch into this powerful Mewtwo EX, but we're going to get to go ahead and Sabrina them and lock them in a room with us here. This is exactly why we potioned last turn, so we weren't dead to this 50 damage breakpoint. So Sabrina makes them switch up. We either KO the Farfetch'd in 1, or the Gardevoir comes up and then it's locked in a room because of Arbok's Pokemon ability here. So the game is done. Treating for you, video gamer. The snack has you. A snake, a snake. Oh, it's a snake. Does that make Weezing our badger, chat? I think Weezing is our honorary badger. I like Rapidash as a third Pokemon in Charizard Moltres because you can start on Rapidash and put a single energy on it while powering up Charizard on your bench. Is dumping my hand the best way to beat red card? All of the good decks already want to dump their hand. Playing around red card with good decks in this game is incredibly trivial and easy. Was the Pokeball there a way to deck them? There's no reason not to play the Pokeball. Sure, it also thins the deck, but like getting a basic out is fine and free. You're not playing Pokeball because it deck thins. You're playing Pokeball because it finds you basics, and then deck thinning is a side effect of that. Crowd rare Mewtwo there in the background. Weezing! Lovely. These are the most rare cards in the game. There's one of these with the gold background for Mewtwo, Pikachu, and Charizard. One of each of the packs. Pack characters. A shame I don't have Giovanni here. Increase my breakpoint by 1. You do not lose when you have no cards in your deck. How free-to-play friendly is this game? We don't know the answer to that question yet. The economy's not fully implemented, and we don't know what competitive decks look like. So I need to double potion here, so that way we don't get one tapped by Mewtwo's deal 50. It's really unfortunate I don't get an attack in this turn, and the duck's just dying to poison. We draw an Arbok, we're probably okay. Then putting up Snorlax seems good for me, yeah? I guess this gives them time to put a bunch of energies on Mewtwo, which lets it one-shot me, but then the Sabrina plus... them powering up Mewtwo means that Sabrina plus Arbok guarantees us the win. Is the TLDR here. They basically... They're never attacking with this lad. I actually think playing Snorlax is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. I think he's one of, if not the worst card currently in Pocket. Sorry, Dad Bod enjoyers. I think if you're interested in playing a colorless Pokemon that is tanky and can take hits while you set up a backline, you should play Kangaskhan. Play a character that you can put 1 energy on and actually threaten some amount of pressure. Giving your opponent full control over deciding when your thing gets off the board is a big deal. Yeah, so the Snorlax knockout's gonna be match point number 2. Weezing will go down in 1 to Mewtwo, and then we'll Sabrina something else up in Arbok to corner to keep it in. Because Arbok's attack says they can't retreat. Yeah, I've been playing a ton of Greninja. When they put Snorlax up in your Greninja deck, it's really funny. You just like never knock it out and slowly KO their backline. Ooh, the second Mewtwo EX helps them a little bit. It makes the Sabrina plan less good. Yeah, I think the second Mewtwo EX means I Sabrina now. Yeah, and with weakness, this is over super quick. They can KO my Weezing and take their first match point, and then Arbok's rolling on up and hitting them for 80. Also, they're 10 for poison on the go-round, so... Which would be the best deck? I think anybody telling you they know what the best deck in Pokemon Pocket is right now either doesn't know what they don't know, or they're trying to sell you something, and in either case, you should probably be apprehensive about taking their advice. I think literally the only developed part of the Pokemon Pocket metagame is the level 0 aggressive decks. We know Mewtwo decks seem linear and powerful. We know Pikachu decks seem linear and powerful. We know Starmie decks seem linear and powerful. We know Moltres Charizard seems linear and powerful. But not a lot of people have been working on counterplay to those. TCG metagames tend to be like onions, they have layers. Peloton, thank you for the half a year. They've hit a lot of the right things you need to hit for sure. Ekans there, Ekans there. We're going first, which is a little sad we don't have Weezing, but it is. If I start playing now, will my data carry over to the full release? It will. Yeah, this is what we call a soft launch in the industry. Meaning that the game is effectively launched. We get the other Pokeball here too, so if they red card me, it doesn't really get any value. When is it ever right to play a card, assuming you have to? I don't understand your question. If we top deck X speed here, it'll be great. Unlucky. The Koga's not bad though, actually. Just putting the gas on. Most of my Pokemon Pocket decks start with 2 Pokeballs, 2 Research, and a Sabrina. And then from there, usually you want five or 6 basics. And then the details kind of diverge from there depending on what you're looking to do. The potion is a stellar draw here because it means I get to put an energy on here and not die to the third energy unless they have a Giovanni. It means my Koga gets to effectively blank 2 attacks worth of damage instead of just 1. My least favorite decks to play into are definitely anything involving the card Misty, with my favorite decks being things that involve Greninja. So Koga returns this to my hands. They don't get the knockout point. Second Weezing goes up. Put energy on here. Put the Koffing out. Koga is just a tempo monster. OTA is out. Sweet. I'm gonna publish my OTA review on the Snap YouTube channel, and after we finish this game, we will we'll switch over to snapping. Okay, so they're gonna get to KO my Weezing, but I'm gonna get to take 2 points off of them. And if they don't have another thing on their bench, this Arbok could be a finisher here with the Sabrina, because they're gonna put the Blastoise up and knock out my Weezing, but then short of an incredible Misty, the Gyarados will not be able to deal with the Arbok at a time. Nope, they ain't doing nothing is what they're doing. There, that's their first match point. I get to put up Arbok. And again, Arbok, when corner hits them, locks them in a room with the Arbok. So they can't just retreat it back out. So we'll Sabrina here to put up one of their backline Pokemon that have no energy prepared on them. And we have 2 match points here, and I have 2 Arboks basically ready to go. Hit him with the corner. We should be able to take this 140 to nothing before they can ramp up and deal with the Arbok here. He said before getting Misty high rolled. So they need 2 heads on a Misty here. Anything short of 2 heads on a Misty and we're done. We will watch my, honey. You ain't XP'd nowhere. Arbok has you in the love hug. Arbok's loving embraces here. And I'll do it again, I swear. Going down with the ship. Your opening hand always has a basic in it. So a lot of people have been playing very few basics to try and guarantee specific ones, but it comes with other drawbacks, like not having a second and then losing like they did there. This deck that I'm currently playing is one of the only decks I've been playing just 2 basics in. Or 4 basics in, I guess I should say. And that's in large part due to the fact that both of my basics I'm playing are good early attackers. I'm not Professor's researching here because I already have the Weezing in hand that I would like to play around red card. Routes is about to have a real bad time. If they don't have a second basic, they're gonna get put in a trash can. Koga makes extra basics as well. Yeah, that's honestly a good way to think about it, Hedge. Is that Koga's a reset. So it's kind of like having more basics. Hey look, it's the red card people keep playing. Okay. Alright, so if we redraw Weezing, they're dead. Cool. And again, like, I know this was 2 really quick games in a row, but like, our opponent's deck is probably also only playing 4 basics. And they probably shouldn't be. They should probably be playing more basics than that, especially when one of their basics is freaking routes. Good night. Thanks for playing. It's a desktop client. No, this game is Android and iOS. Similar to Snap at launch, there's no mention of a PC client at launch. There is no suitcase currency 2099. That thing that you're claiming on the daily, it looks like you're claiming a third thing, but it's only 2 things that you're actually getting. Skizzer, thank you for the 21 months. Welcome back. Greninja is my favorite character to play in this game right now. Alright, we got Dragonite opponent. I think that's good for us on average. Our deck's pretty aggressive, and their deck tends to not deal well with people being aggressive into them. No Weezing to start here is a little sad, though. We'd really like Weezing to be able to do lots of damages very quickly. So as of right now, there aren't really ways to spend in this game. You could buy the premium pass and you could buy gold and that's it. There's been some mention that they're gonna sell bundles like Snap does in the data mines, but none of that is actually in the client yet. I wanna just get the snake up at this point and start dealing out damage. I have Arbok in hand to evolve into. Are they 3 colors? So the most common Dragonite deck on tier lists and content creator things has the dark disabled, and they're purely playing Weezing plus Koga, so that way they can they're purely playing Weezing Koga for stalling. Which didn't seem great when I tried it, but it's what a lot of people are recommending, so it's something to be aware of. Giovanni here lets us cleanly KO this Dratini, and then if they don't find that other basic here, the game is over. We get to go ahead and Sabrina up, they're back Dorko, and lock it in with Arbok. What have you found to be the best ratio of Pokemon versus traders and supporters? I think, like most deck building and good card games, simply having a locked-in ratio is not something you're interested in doing. You want to be thinking critically about your choices. Yep, and this game is now over. Because, and I think this is a good example. Talking about deck building, a lot of content creators have been recommending decks where you only play 4 basics. And I think playing 4 basics is probably wrong. You'll notice a lot of my deck. This current deck I'm playing is one of the only decks I have only 4 basics in. And part of the, oh, I forgot to, I was so excited I forgot to do my stuff. That's fine, they're dead. Part of the reason why this deck only has 4 basics in it is because all of our basics in stage 1s are good and aggressive. And I think when you have things like this deck from the opponent where you can't attack with half your mons and you have such slow, clunky setup, you need more basics than this. And when decks get optimized, like dealing efficient amounts of damage like what this deck is doing, and a lot of the decks that have been doing, they're gonna need to adjust how they're building their decks. I think a lot of the deck building in this game right now is people playing somewhat optimized things, somewhat efficient things into unoptimized decks, and they're just getting to do their thing and run over people. And when people start applying real pressure, they're gonna have a hard time. Sad that we're going first, but we don't have Koffing. Oh my god, we can't escape the grass dino chat. It's everywhere. Everywhere I look, I see his name. Do you not have to replay Koffing? Of course you have to replay Koffing. But it takes you replay it and then you re-evolve it the following turn. Yeah, you can replay the Koffing the turn you Koga. Maybe they won't have the Ivysaur on curve, and we'll spike the Arbok. Or I could top deck the X speed, and we can get poisoning right away. Glorious. Or Weezing shells, you're like, I think Weezing is one of the generically best stage ones of the game. It's very strong, especially when paired with Koga. We played a Weezing Brock deck yesterday. That was fun. I think that's probably enough pressure that even if they evolve on curve here, we're hopefully ahead of them. So again, a lot of your choices with things like Potion come down to understanding breakpoints. I'm going to Potion here because if my opponent evolves into Ivysaur and has a Giovanni, they'll deal 70. It's worth playing Potion here to play around a potential lose condition. As is the skill in most card games, understanding what your opponent's output range is has a lot of value here. And I enjoy the aspect that the small decks in this game are similar to the small decks in Marvel Snap, so you get rewarded for knowing their output range more frequently. We win a Koga draw here. That's never lucky. We're in a fine spot still because they don't have their evolution. Yes, the waiting for opponent covering how many match points they have is not ideal design. They haven't drawn a second basic yet, and that's unfortunate. Is it unfortunate or is it an explicit deck building choice? You gotta remember a lot of people are building their decks in a way that they're often not going to draw a second basic. I've seen some people even running fewer than 4 basics in deck recommendations. Thanks for making it to the end of the deck highlight. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you want more deck highlights like this one, other game news updates with everything related to Pokemon Pocket as we head towards that October 30th global release.